Today, President Trump endorsed the new Republican plan for American health care.
That plan is set to replace the Affordable Care Act, but how do the two stack up? Here to help us through the pros and cons is insurance expert Craig Gussin. Good to see you, as always.
Always good to see you.
All right, we went from not having a plan B to having it laid out in full. Where do we begin?
I think we begin with people understanding that this is not going to happen overnight. I've been reading things that says, oh, this isn't going to affect in a year. There's no way possible it can get done that quickly. Because no matter what they get done, the insurance commissioner in each state in the country has to go and approve it. The insurance companies have to come out with brand new plans. And they can't do that overnight. So I'm looking at 2019, 2020, before they really get this up and running.
So don't panic.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so one of the things I read about this plan was it addresses age variation and rates there.
Right.
What does it mean for young people, and what does it mean for baby boomers in that range?
That is a big deal, because in the old days, prior to the ACA, also known as Obamacare, if Sandy was 20-something and I was 60-something, the ratio was 5 to 1. So if I'm paying $500 a month, she's going to pay $100. Under the ACA, they dropped it to 1 to 3. So what happens is I'm still paying $500 a month, and now Sandra's paying $175. So they're going back to the 5 to 1 ratio, which is going to help a lot of the young people. So that is a very good thing. I'm really happy that you're doing that. It's something we've been asking for years, because that's going to lower the cost of people in the 20s and 30s.
It helps them, but what does it do for baby boomers? Does it increase the cost?
It's really not going to affect us, because what the insurance companies look at is, Alan, what's it going to cost you and I? And they're going to look at that, that's the price. And then they go backwards to what they're going to charge a 20 and 30-year-old. Well, if they go back now and say, okay, now we're back to a 5 to 1 ratio, they're not really going to. I've seen people talk about that the rates for older people are going up. I've never seen it. I've actually seen the opposite effect. So a lot of what you're hearing and people talking about is not right. I mean, I just got back from Washington, D.C. about 2 weeks ago, and it was amazing how well everybody got along and how much they all wanted to get this done. And I kept hearing rumors that they were going to get it done this quickly, and I thought, no way. But to hear, like you guys talked about a couple minutes ago, this is just a proposal. It's the beginning.
How does this proposal impact Medicaid?
That is the $100 question. We talked a lot about that when I was in Washington, D.C. And what every legislator I talked to on both sides of the aisle said, if we could take care of the Medicaid issue, everything else is done. They came out with something, all these different ideas. I was reading through the 66 pages last night and this morning. I'm confused. So I'm waiting to see how it all plays out. We need to cover everybody. You know, in the old days, 15% of the people had no insurance. Now we're down to about 8.2%. 90% of those people aren't buying insurance regardless of what you give them. So we're really not looking at a lot of people. I think the people on Medicaid, they're going to find a way to make it work. But they're trying to do it in such a way that maybe give people incentives to go back to work or get health insurance. But some of the things that they showed, like you get a tax credit up to $75,000 a year. I think that's a pretty generous number, where the subsidies always ended at about $45,000. So I think we're going to see a lot of different things. This is just the beginning. They're coming out with a proposal. I'm curious to see what we see in the next couple of weeks.
As I understand it now, President Trump initially on the campaign trail basically said that he wanted to give insurance companies the opportunity to cross state lines.
Correct.
To become more competitive and therefore reduce rates. This does not include that, does it?
I noticed that it wasn't in it, but in California, it's not a big deal. We have 6 insurance companies. 30% of the counties across the country have one plan. 70% have 2 or less. We have 6 companies in San Diego County that people choose from.
For other states, do you think the Congress will eventually include that in the package?
They're going to have to do something to address that issue. Health insurance is expensive because health care is expensive, but you also need competition. And I grew up in Michigan, so we had Blue Cross Blue Shield in Michigan, and that was probably 75% of all the health insurance is by one company. You can't have that and be competitive. So I think what you're going to see is a lot of these companies have to come out with more options and more plans, and we need that. Across state lines, It sounds good, but actually you can do that today if you want to. You just have to offer all the benefits, the essential benefits that California offers. States, companies don't want to do that, or maybe other states do. I think what we're seeing is that they're going to leave it to the states and let the states decide. Again, we are a state-run plan. So regardless of what happens, it may not affect us a lot.
All right. Well, the proposal is out. It's going to take a while to approve it if that happens and let it go into action. So we'll be following it closely. Greg Gussin, thank you so much.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
a lot. Good to see you. Still ahead on the KUSI News at 5, some major